Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-shoots.com, and welcome to a grain to glass wild hops SMaSH beer video. Yes, that's right. We actually did a little bit of video of me actually brewing this beer, and the hops that we're using for this SMaSH is hops that were growing on the side of the road for decades, at least from what we could tell. I'll give a short story and then we'll get into the brew session. There's a lot of road construction near my brother's house. He was looking at the plant that was growing up the side of a telephone pole. For a long time we saw this plant, but we didn't know what it was. We didn't know if it was some other invasive species or what have you. So Jim, being who he is, my brother, went up to one of the construction guys and said, "Hey, tell me when you're about to do work over here because I'm going to come down and dig up that plant and put it in my backyard." And so, like he was asked, the construction worker said, like, "Hey, tomorrow, get your plant, get out of here." And so he planted that last year. This year he actually got cones. The plan was to collect enough cones to get it tested, but we only had 2.5 ounces of cones. So we're brewing a SMaSH beer instead to talk about it. And here's how the brew session went. It was on Labor Day, and we'll go right from the beginning. I ordered a bag of Great Western Pale Malt unmilled. It came to milled. Not great, but it'll do. Got 2.5 ounces of wild hops. We dried and vacuum sealed those. We measured out 2 pounds of malt. We heated 2 gallons of water to 161 Fahrenheit, 72 degrees Celsius strike temperature. The malt went into a bag in my cooler mash tun. I heated the water I added the water to the mash tun. After some stirring, got the mash temp down to 151 degrees Fahrenheit, 66 Celsius. Measured out 7 grams of hop cones. Added them to the start of the 60-minute boil. I let those cones dance in the boiling wort. Love the boiling footage. Measured out 14 grams of hop cones, added them to a fine mesh bag and added those at the 20-minute to go mark in the boil. Mixed them around with a spoon to make sure that they get all saturated. Measured out another 7 grams of hop cones, added them to a mesh bag and added them at the 5-minute mark to go in the boil. And hopefully that looks good. Hope you love that the brew session video segments. After the boil was done, we chilled that wort in my sink and transferred it to a 1-gallon jug. We pitched US 0.5, about 3 grams. Fermented it at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius for 6 days. 6 days. So Sunday, I cold crashed that and transferred it into a mini keg to carbonate and serve, and that's what we're having today. The water that was used, it was filtered tap water treated with a Camden tablet. So, as you can see, if you've done the side shot there, I think a lot of these SMaSH beers that I do with the dry hopping come out cloudy. This had no dry hopping. This was all kettle hopped. So very clear, I would say. Like
it's extremely clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep holding it up over here, but
yeah.
I mean, it is really very clear.
Yeah. So I've been taking sips of this at home as it's carbonated over the last couple days. I'd love to hear your impressions because this is it came out pretty good, and I have some thoughts of I think it's like some of the questions I have is, would you be able to pick out this hop variety? But let's talk about the beer. What do you pick up on the nose?
On the nose, there's actually something. Maybe it's just the malt character. This is just Great Western 2-row. But there isn't a ton of hop aroma, but there's something vanilla-like in it, which makes me want to wonder if it's the malt. If I'm just getting malt and no hops, but there's like a strange herbal / vanilla type of aroma that I'm getting on there. At first, it was almost like a little bit like trash heap, but as it's warmed, I'm sort of getting a vanilla quality to it. But there's But maybe I would reduce that to saying there's just something sort of herbal about it.
Yeah, I'm getting like a spicy herbal note. Anyway.
The flavor sort of carries through the same thing. It's not super strong. The bitterness is mild, very mild, but it's present. I mean, there's definitely a touch of a hop bite there. I can tell that there are hops in this beer, but not. I would say it's probably like 20 IBUs or less. And the flavor is more the same. I get like that herbal thing and maybe a little bit of a vanilla-like quality to it. That's, for some reason, that's what's hitting it on my head, is the flavor quality I'm getting out of it. But it's not strong enough for me to like for it to trigger some sort of olfactory memory from all the other hops I've ever had. And who knows what the real alpha level of it is per se. But it has made a very balanced, drinkable beer.
Yep.
And interestingly, though, too, like let's just say this is some wild hop from who knows when. I think another reason why all those SMaSH beers you make, because there's no extra protein in those worts, right?
No.
I think some of those newer world hops we're using are lending themselves to being hazy for some reason, right? They're higher. Maybe they're higher in some of the polyphenols than whatever this wildly captured hop cone is, and it's just not putting as much polyphenol in there or whatever it is to help make it hazy versus the other ones. That's the thing that's most striking, is how clear it is versus
I agree.
So, dry hop or otherwise,
Right. So. True. I just found it like when I was taking samples and looking at it and saying, "Wow, this is really clearing out very nicely," and that is not normally the case with my 1 gallon batches.
It's a very interesting. I put it like an almost a blonde ale quality to it, right?
See, I'm getting kind of a macro lager hop sense too. Like, I was thinking that I would bring over some salt, sprinkle some in, have that, because this is reminiscent of my grandfather's Schlitz.
Yeah.
As
far as if it really is some sort of wild variety out here. If I was, it could very well be something like a cluster or something like that, because that's sort of native to not native, but whatever. If there were hops growing around here or that had been transplanted for one reason or another, U.S. cluster in this northeast part of the country tends to possibly be in that ballpark.
Or again, my other thought was maybe it's not necessarily wild, that someone took, rhizome and was, who knows, like maybe it grew, maybe it was on some fence. I mean, people were growing hops for decoration purposes, and this just, lived on and found its way, to a telephone pole, and was growing up the side of that. That could totally be the sense. Now, that's why I was trying to think, like, well, because it doesn't really have the cattiness of cluster, but I think that there is that sort of like, balanced kind of bitterness. That also, when I was looking at descriptors of that particular variety, that was a hallmark of it. Galena was another one that I thought of too, because I was just thinking, like, what other hop rhizomes may have been in like a hobby store back then, and that someone could purchase in a store and actually,
Yeah, but they could have gotten like from just any botanicals too. I mean, they do sell them like through, not just for beer brewing. I mean, you can buy them ornamentally too. So
that's what I'm thinking, is like one of those, classic, macro lager hop varieties that, were used particularly for bittering for their clean properties. So who knows what this really is. I wish we had enough to like actual test out, but it was kind of fun just to brew this, do the grain to glass situation, and have Mike take a look at it. I think this is great. I think I'll bottle some, make sure my brother has some, so he can, get a sense of what his hops produced, and maybe next time, treat his plant a little bit better. We'll get him a bigger yield next year, so we can learn more about it. So hopefully you dug this video. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.